Tyler Thompson and Will Howard, who they drafted in one of the later rounds. So it gives these guys an opportunity to show what they can do. Aaron Rodgers may show up at some point. If he does, it would be to be the starter. But if he doesn't, I don't honestly think the Steelers are all that stressed out about it. Mason Rudolph is somebody who's been there and who helped them get to the playoffs 2 years ago when he became the starter late in the season. He's well-liked in the locker room by the coaching staff. Everybody laughs, but the Steelers actually feel like we can play good defense, we can run the ball. Mason Rudolph, could be good enough.
Good enough. I don't know if that's what you want in the NFL. Is like, okay, I understand you could win with, I guess, a game manager or whatever. I don't know. Swagoo, what do you think of the way they've handled it?
How much better than Mason Rudolph was Aaron Rodgers last year? That's the question I would ask.
Oh, Swagoo, your thoughts?
Yeah. All right, first of all, let me say this. I don't like optimistic Graziano. I like negative Graziano. I like the one that really is going to, because we know damn well the Pittsburgh Steelers ain't winning nothing with Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and probably Aaron Rodgers as well. Here's the bigger issue. Yeah. How are you positioning as the Pittsburgh Steelers to get a quarterback? Beyond Aaron Rodgers, beyond Mason Rudolph, how are you positioning? The waffling has happened because you've had good enough play to always be picking 20th or lower tier, and you can't get these guys. Make no moves up in the draft. I thought Shedeur Sanders would be the pick because of a young quarterback, and maybe you hang your hat on him progressing and becoming the franchise guy. Then that was gone. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and how they've been waffling, and I, for the life of me, can't understand what the quarterback situation future looks like. Here's the other thing. I hope, that they are like two famous people in a relationship that are going to come out to the world at a big event. Because that's the only thing that can happen. And if it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, we got to live with Aaron Rodgers. And I know he didn't have the greatest season, but there were signs that he would be better than what they have in the locker room right now. That is what this is about. This ain't about Super Bowls. This ain't about the Pittsburgh Steelers winning nothing or signing long-term deal with Aaron Rodgers. This is a one-time thing where hopefully you could be a solid team with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback.
The analogy.
Oh, sorry. Now I'm just thinking about Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers walking into the Met Gala tonight for Marcus's hard launch.
I knew you was going to catch it.
The Met Gala.
I knew you was going to catch it. LeBron can't go. LeBron can't go this year.
LeBron can't go. Look, if the Steelers aren't getting Aaron Rodgers, I do not understand their approach to this offseason at all. It makes no sense to me. But even if they are, to Graziano's point, Aaron Rodgers was like a bottom 10 quarterback last year, so it's okay, right? I think that there's reason to believe they could get decent play out of him, but will it be enough to put them over the top in the AFC North? I'm skeptical of that. But if he's not going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, then we're going to look back at this offseason completely puzzled by how they handle things.
Okay, so here's my thing, and to your point, Mina, I know that these guys were in the building, but if you're going to do this, why don't you just let Justin Fields? Why don't you just try to keep Justin Fields? Maybe the money was a problem, and obviously the Jets signed him to $20 million a year, but if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got solid to good quarterback play from him before you went to Russell Wilson. Maybe another year in this system, another year in the locker room. Or did they completely give up on Justin Fields to go to what they have now? And that is what is going to piss these fans off when that question arises if you're not having success throughout the season. I always say it. Everybody cool when it's May, April, and we ain't got nothing to do. And everybody is optimistic like Dan. But when we get to September and October and you sitting there at 2-6, and your quarterback then threw 9 interceptions, watch how many people talk about why Justin Fields didn't get kept, or even Russell Wilson at that point.
Yeah, is this one of those situations where they know something that we don't, and that's why it doesn't make sense?
They have to.
Or does it really just not make sense? That could be. All right.
Are you tanking?
Maybe both.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. See, why do you always say that as we're going to go to commercial? Okay. Anyway, Swagoo, or they want a better draft pick next year. All right, Swagoo. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, okay. The Cowboys' rookie minicamp is wrapping up today, and new head coach Brian Schottenheimer spoke about the changes he's already made in Dallas, moving Dak Prescott's locker next to Micah Parsons, and then he explained the adjustments that he made in their first team meeting.
We moved some guys around. This year I did, along with the help of the staff. Again, they don't really get a say in that. But there's a method to the madness. I think when the guys went into the team room for the first time, I made them all stand up after they sat down. I let them sit down, and I had them stand up, and I had them move seats. Why? It's a new year. It's 2025. We'll do that in 2026. We'll do that in 2027 and beyond. I think it's just when you start a new year, do something different, change something up. So it's something that's talked about, thought about, but there's a method to the madness at times.
Okay, so let's start with you. One could argue there's been a lot of madness there in Dallas. What's the most effective way you think Schotty can change things as a new head coach?
Yeah, I think building a culture and trying to insulate this locker room away from all of the things that go on revolving around the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, the media attention, all the things that transpire that are very unimportant to actually winning games on the field. And I'm actually a byproduct of this. Like, Bill Parcells had strategic ways that he placed lockers. He put a lot of veterans by each other. He put leaders by each other. Sometimes he would put veterans by young guys who had to contribute that particular year. So whatever Brian Schottenheimer method is, hopefully is something that's going to create a culture where the outside influences can't infiltrate that. Dallas is unique in that way, where you almost got to make this the coaching staff in the locker room against everything else as far as attention goes, so you can strictly focus on football and be one group trending in the same direction and let the madness go on the outside.
I think, Swagoo, to that point almost, like the key aspect of the Brian Schottenheimer hire as head coach for Dallas is that he's not coming in from the outside. He's part of that culture, right? Like he's for better or for worse, like he's been around and he knows how things work there. And so when you come in and make changes, if you're the new guy and you're coming in from somewhere else, it's possible that the players react in a way like, hey, who's this guy think he is? Not so in this case, because they already know Brian Schottenheimer. And quite frankly, from what I've been told, they like him. I think this is a hire that went over pretty well, from what I understand, in the Cowboys locker room with the players. I think they're happy for him and eager to give him a chance to put his stamp on it. So whatever changes are being made, I think the players are likely, into it and excited about what he might bring to the party. But it was interesting. He sounds very optimistic, talking about we'll make these changes again next year and the year after that and the year after that. He expects to be there a while.
Yeah, and listen, he may not be a new face, as you point out, Dan, but there are plenty of them there. I mean, we talked last week about all those needs that the Cowboys had going into the draft. Did they address their most important ones?
Yes and no. I'm really torn on this draft class. Marcus and I were watching the picks come in together and saw that, because I actually like a lot of their picks, right? You start with Tyler Booker. Guard was a need, and they have such a good track record when it comes to drafting offensive linemen. Donovan Izaraku out of Boston College, a very technically refined, productive pass rusher, also a need opposite Micah Parsons, who's about to get paid. And then I really love the addition of Siobhan Rebel Jr., who's a cornerback out of East Carolina, who I really think would have gone a lot higher had he not been injured last season. Again, cornerback, also a need. But I don't know how they came out of this draft without a single wide receiver. That was perhaps the most glaring need of all of them, maybe outside of running back. And I do wish that they added some help, not just for Dak, but someone to take a little bit of attention off of CeeDee Lamb. Amari Cooper is still out there as a free agent, so that's someone I would keep my eye on. But yeah, it's kind of a mixed grade for me, Hannah.
Yeah.
MK, we were sitting in the hotel lobby, the wonderful Residence Inn in Green Bay, and we were going through these picks and trying to decipher, what was the need. Shout out to, first of all, staff, phenomenal. Very nice people, took very good care of us. But the Tyler Booker thing for me was more about, obviously we talked about the potential of having to replace Zach Martin, and usually offensive linemen, especially the ones that Dallas draft, they become stalwarts. They play a long time. They've been tremendous in that area of drafting guys. But to Mina's point, we were all sitting there at 12, like, are they going to take Ted McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona, if he's there? and Carolina traded up and took him. And I have some ideas now after the draft that was a thought. If he was available, that he would be a guy that would hold significant weight between the two, whether we would go O-line or offensive playmaker. So to your point, it's going to have to happen through free agency. They're going to have to find a young diamond in the rough. And they also traded for a young wide receiver out of Carolina last year, and it made everybody scratch their heads, but seemingly high on him.
Yeah,
I forget his
listen,
name.
they didn't even average 21 points a game last year, so they have to do something offensively.
No.
That was their fewest in a season since 2015. Of course, Dak is
was
healthy
hurt,
and coming back. I know it did. I'm
making
sorry,
excuses.
Swagoo. I didn't mean to hurt you. Meanwhile, in Baltimore, where they're wrapping up rookie minicamp as well, John Harbaugh spoke yesterday. He couldn't help but rave about their first-round pick, safety Malachi Starks out of Georgia.
John, what do you hope that Malachi can not only learn from this offseason, but also the safeties in your room right now, Kyle Hamilton or Darius Washington?
Right. Well, yeah, I hope he learns how to be like an all-pro. I mean, that's kind of what you hope. I mean, you hope for the best. And plan for the best too, I guess. I mean, I expect him to do really well. You know, he's our first-round pick. A lot to whom much is given, much is required. And nobody understands it better than him as a young guy. Really impressed with his maturity. He broke the huddle today. That's not an easy thing to do your first time. So, so far so good.
All right, so he could break the huddle. Yay, good start. Mina, good secondary too. What does he bring to the table?
A lot. Opportunity. So this was like a really chalky pick to the Baltimore Ravens. People thought it was very likely to go there, and it was for good reason. Last season, Marcus remembers, we talked about this so much, the Ravens basically saved their season halfway through by moving Kyle Hamilton to free safety full time, which sort of stopped the bleeding in the pass defense. But I would also argue didn't allow them to weaponize Hamilton the way they have in the past, both playing the nickel as a blitzer, or Darius Washington emerged as a second safety. But now Malachi Starks gives them a third safety who's also very versatile and will allow them to game plan specifically for Hamilton based on their opponent. So I love the pick for who he is as a player and what he brings, but I also love it because of what it does for Kyle Hamilton, who I think is one of the best safeties in the NFL.
And Swagoo, if we go to the other side of the ball, just I guess similar to what we were talking about with the Cowboys in a way, do they have enough help in that respect?